Good evening, everyone. We will call our regular scheduled meeting to order at this time. For those of you who would like to do an application, if you would like to join us and stand, please. Father God, we come this evening to say thank you for your many blessings. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for another time to come before us. And Father, we just come right now to ask that you come and abide with us for a little while. Dear God, as we try to do things for the better of this community, better of our people who live in this community. We pray, O Heavenly Father, that you would just bless us and strengthen us in the areas where we're most weak and we're most need. We lift up to you, dear God, those who are sick, the bereaved families throughout this community. We pray, dear God, that you will continue to bless Sister Ashley in her absence and her illness. Give us strength and understanding that you're God and you're God all by yourself. Now, Father, we just love you, adore you, and magnify the holy name. These and all blessings. We ask in Jesus' name. All said. Amen. Okay. We're doing something a little different this evening for the sake of the new deputy secretary. If you start to my far left and introduce yourself so she can become acquainted with each of us. I'm Williams. She did.
Regina Holman. Trini McNair.
Let's sit down a bit to take care. We'll do our pledge this time. Would you lead us in our pledge?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Against flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, as one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. That correction. Okay, we have roll call. We have to show that we do have a quorum at this time. Public comments. We have one public comment. This evening, Mr. John, Mr. Bush. Busa.
Yes.
Okay. Want to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, please?
Yeah. So my name is John Busa. I work here in Cleveland. I grew up in Cleveland. I am speaking based on our last meeting where some questions came about in terms of the skate park. Questions like what type of parts are there, what types of ramps, what are the building materials, estimation of the cost, all those kind of things. I did build a packet, and if there's any area you want me to focus on, I'm happy to do that, or I can just go through the whole little packet to whatever the board like.
What we'll do, we'll go online, we'll go ahead and skip down to number 6 and let him discuss what he wants to do. Scott, that's okay with you? We'll go to the meeting at number 6. What was bad, and then we can get past what he wants to do. We'll take care of my regular business. In our package, they gave us skate parks information and also gave us a list of rules and regulations that has been presented to us. So, the homework.
Yeah.
We'll let you discuss what you got, then we'll come back and we'll go over the skate park rules and regulations that have been presented.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead and start going through. First and foremost, what I put together is more of a reference guide than anything else. It should in no way be considered a proposal or anything like that. The next piece is why a skate park for the city of Cleveland. Right now, based on my research, we have no skate parks in Cleveland. It's pretty apparent. I believe there are 2 basketball courts, 2 volleyball courts, and 4 softball / baseball fields in the city of Cleveland. So other sports seem to be well served. However, skateboarding seems to be underserved. I listed out some benefits of skateboarding. These are based on a thing called the Public Skate Park Development Guide, which is published by the Public Skate Park International Association of Skateboard Companies and by the Tony Hawk Foundation. So all of these benefits listed here are from them. And the statistics on skateboarding is that 8.1% of U.S. youth 5 to 17 skateboard, 3.3% of young adults ages 18 to 24 currently skateboard as well. I'll move into what a skate park looks like. This is just an overview of what skate parks look like. There are 3 main types of skate parks, and that's what the spreadsheet, the little chart here reflects. There's something called the skate spot, the locals park, the skate plaza, and then the regional park. Skate spots are the smallest. Typically they can hold 10, 15 skateboarders at a time at max load. Any more than that, everyone's just kind of getting in each other's way, whereas the regional park is massive and hold tons of people. And the regional parks are developed primarily to call in professional skateboarders, build large amounts of crowd, and tourism. However, those are also very costly and, if you can imagine, massive. So, some skate spots examples here. There's the Livingston Skate Park. There's Tamarack, which is in Woodlands. These are both fairly small spots. On the next page, we have the neighborhood skate park, Watonga, or Easy 7. Easy 7 was a drainage ditch in Houston before they built the Watonga Park. These are prefabricated metal ramps that you see here. The city of Houston rarely maintains the ramps. You can see the wear and tear on them. Kazimierski Skate Park in Conroe is next to it. That one was, this renovation was done maybe 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, to make it a full concrete park. And then in the skate plaza, you have Bear Branch Park in Woodlands, Wolfton Skate Park, and then regional skate parks. The North Houston Skate Plaza, which is the closest one to us, it's in Greenspoint, and then the Lee and Jamal Skate Park in downtown Houston. We move into our common ramps. That was another question that came up because I was up here referencing ramps last time, and not everyone, I think, knew what all the different ramps are. So the most common things you see are the quarter pipe, the step up or the Euro gap, which is just basically a ramp to a flat with a gap in between. You got the half pipe, while the one pictured here is more of what's called a mini ramp because there's not a full vert wall. Half pipe is just 2 quarter pipes together to make a half. Then you have a fun box. A fun box is just lead wedges that are constructed in a way with elements in between them. A lot of times have rails or stairs on one side. And then common handrails, you got stair steps or handrails, benches, what's called a manual pad or a ledge, and then flat bar. A flat bar is any rail that's just flat to the ground, parallel to the ground. So they can be round or they can be made out of square tubing. Next is the liability considerations. Statistically speaking, all those other sports that Cleveland already has complexes for are more dangerous than skateboarding for 1,000 participants. Yes. And that is according to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. You can go and you can actually look up all the hospital visits based on what sport people were playing. So per 1,000, more people are injured playing basketball than they are skateboarding.
Gotta be age related.
It could be age related. It could also be just statistically. If only 3% of your population skateboards, 50% play basketball, it could just be pure statistics at that point, right? The next page is Chapter 75 Civil Practice and Remedies Code. This is a Texas state law that basically says if a state organization builds something and someone gets hurt using it, it's not the state's fault if they were using it for that purpose. So if a city builds a skate park and someone gets hurt at the skate park, the city is covered because they were skating at the skate park and they took on that responsibility for themselves. When we get to the signage, you'll see every place in Texas puts this Chapter 75 clause into the rules and regulations of the park. The risk of no skate park, of those people that are injured and visit the hospital for skateboarding, almost all of them involve a motor vehicle of some kind. That's because people are skating in parking lots, they're skating in the streets, there's no park around, it's just not safe.
Okay, you, hold on.
Yep.
So you're telling us that very minimum amount of interest in skateboarding?
There are minimal amounts of interest in skateboarding, but again, you gotta look at statistics. If only 3% of your population versus 50%, also look at the people that are skateboarding. If I'm out there and I happen to sprain my ankle, I'm not going to a doctor about a sprained ankle. If I happen to, get a pretty big laceration on my forearm, I'm probably fixing that myself. I'm not going to the hospital for that. So reportedly, based on the Consumer's Product Board, skateboarding is safer than any other sport. So.
That's basically what he's saying. And concrete doesn't feel good at all. Take it at your word.
I can give you an example. Just
go ahead.
Well, just two weeks ago, I was skateboarding. In my head, put a pretty big goose egg, blacked out.
That's not a severe injury.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a concussion.
You got a few athletes in here now. That's not a severe injury. You got a helmet on, right?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, you were an example to children. You're very safety here.
The next page, I cover a couple of safety recommendations that most parks have enacted, such as the park's unsupervised, you're skating at your own risk. It's open dusk till dawn. You should wear your helmet, pads, and gear. Skateboards, rollerblades, bikes only, no profanity, drugs, graffiti. A lot of places, like in the Woodlands, if they catch people graffitiing or they see graffiti on ramps, they'll actually close the park down until the graffiti is cleaned off, and then they'll reclaim it. So,
right. I'm kind of safety conscious, and we just discussed it. So, are you saying that I'm looking at the safety recommendations?
mm-hmm.
So, in order for us to support this, are we going to include helmets? And if so, what's going to be the issues if someone's caught not wearing helmets?
So the only way that I know of to really enforce, like if you say helmets are required, is to make the park supervised. Because if the park's not supervised, people are going to skate without gear. So if you have a supervised park, and that again, this is up to the city if they want to make a supervised park. But my recommendation,
That's not going to happen.
my recommendation is to keep it unsupervised and just say it's strongly recommended. Again, if I understand correctly, the Chapter 75 code should protect the city from any attack. So, some signage examples from Austin, the Woodlands, and Travis County parks. All of them basically say the same things. And again, at the bottom, you'll see the Chapter 75 law cited on each and every one of them. There's also the in case of emergency phone number, which is 911.
I have a question. You included, even in your, overall, we were talking about skate parks.
Mhm.
And now, looking at it, it says, bikes, to include bikes. I know they kind of use the same type of, it's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing. So would we, with the skate park, because it says skate park.
It says skate park. A lot of places are referred to as skate parks. It's just a common term for them. They call them wheeled parks at this point. So basically bikes, inline skates, scooters, all of that. Everyone shows up to the skate park. It's just one of those things like calling a facial tissue a Kleenex,
Not to me. Not to me.
And what I think you need to take into consideration, you have a very small area area, very limited, so we will, and I'm like Mr. Williams, I'm thinking skate park, so we need to define, I'm thinking, what we're going to support as a board, and then the council will do the same thing. Because if you're gonna add bikes to this, then that's a whole different beast.
So,
Or what do you think?
personally, I go to skate parks all the time and people are BMXing and doing inline scooters. But again, if you're gonna say bikes aren't allowed, it's gonna need to be supervised by somebody, right?
No, what I think, no disrespect, what you need to understand is that this is a template.
Mhm.
We're trying to get to where some of these things, places already are. We're not there yet. So my recommendation is gonna be that you make sure that we're not using bikes unless the city manager and the board see something different. You came to us talking about a skate park.
Mhm.
And my understanding of skate park is just a skate park, not wheels and skates.
Okay.
Okay? Because we're trying to bring another entity into the community that's needed. We respect that. But our job is to make sure that we get what you're asking for and then give it to the city, and then their job is gonna make sure that it's done properly and safe, if that makes sense.
It does. So, what are you asking of me, just to remove, this one that says skateboards, rollerblades, and bikes only? Remove that, or?
How big of, the area is not too big, 'cause we put it up on the map.
Yeah, so,
So it's not very.
I get into that. The area that's given for the DIY park is smaller than the skate spot. If you look back, the skate spot is,
Or the one in Livingston.
yeah, the
Well, it's just like
Livingston
the
one.
area that defines what each one would be considered.
Yes, so a skate spot is 15,000, 5,000 square feet. I think we meet the minimum of a skate spot currently,
Okay.
right? So that's only 10 concurrent people. And later on in the presentation, I get into how skate park manufacturers come up with how big of a park you need. And for us, it's roughly 3,000. But we'll go
We
into
wanna
that.
make sure, you the skater, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, so like, if you the one who coming up.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that spot that big, you say only about 10 skaters?
Yep.
You know, so you got a group of 5 or 6, I bring 2 bicycles, now that spot is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I completely get it. And even with what we have now at about 4 or 5, it's pretty much maxed out. Like, you know, you're getting in each other's way at that point, so. But yeah, I go into Sage recommendations a little bit later, so.
You do your thing.
All right, so where do people currently go, local here? Well, there's something called the Habitat Gap, that's the feed store. Actually, it was named that because the first person that ever did it on a skateboard called that a Habitat skateboard. So we named it the Habitat. You got Southline Church, a lot of kids skate there. You got the Pentecostal Church, they got some nice little banks and ledges. Southside bank ledges are really nice. Right across the street, there's a stair set at that bank that people skate, and then just various parking lots and curbs.
So let me ask you this while you're talking about local spots.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, they have a fee store. Are you getting any feedback, positive or negative from these property owners?
Negative. It's all negative feedback. So I haven't skated local skate spots here in Cleveland in quite some time. Before the park's first meeting, I went out and skated local spots. I got kicked out of every one. Police officer would roll up and say, "Hey, they don't want you skating here." But I remember back when I was a kid, feed store would kick us out, and where I was a kid, right across the feed store was the fire department. So the fire department would regularly walk over and tell us to get off that property. You had
Keep throwing people under the bus.
That's Roger.
You need to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember that, bro.
Oh, well, I don't know if you were there. I don't remember you.
Well, I'm sure they would have told us that what was going on, but, you know, go ahead.
The Pentecostal church got mad at us for moving parking blocks all the time. The bank here would say we're making our gaps
You
too
don't
large.
have to go into detail, and the reason is that, number one, is private property
Mm-hmm.
and safety, so they don't want any issues, so I can understand that.
Yeah, no, it's totally understandable that, but going back to when there's no place to skate, what do?
You don't go on private property.
Well, where am I gonna do it?
Gonna drive to where there is a skate
Yeah, but he's talking about kids, he's
So-
not talking about adults.
When I was a kid, well, so Livingston Skate
Parents
Park,
to drive you.
we didn't have vehicles.
They work.
I mean, look at, this is not something just got started. This was way back
Like,
90s,
Yeah.
in the same area that you were, and I've even seen you at Walgreens, when people are lying in the medication, I've seen skaters running across
Yeah.
the car. But this problem has always been there, you
yeah.
know? So,
So Livingston Skate Park is the closest skate park to Cleveland, and that's 28 minutes away. If you don't have a ride, you can't get to Livingston. Dylan Duncan is in Kingwood. That one is actually interesting. That's the closest one to my house because I live right off Kingwood Drive. That's the first skate park ever built in the city of Houston, first public skate park. There were private skate parks before that. James Driver Park is off Little York, Kazimierski Park in Conroe, and you can see how far each of these places are. Right? And then Tamarack is 43 minutes. Anywhere other than this, you're going 50 minutes plus to get to a skate park. So we go into estimations on cost. So there's something called the skate park adoption model, and what that does, this is how skate park manufacturers get with the city to say, this is how much you need for your skate park. Based on the 2020 population, the census data that I could find, we were at a population of 7,471. Your casual skater population is 3%, that's 224. And then the core skaters, the people that do it, every day of the week, is about 27% of that, or almost 30% of that, so that's 62. And then your peak load is going to be 33% of your core skateboarders. So that's how many people are showing up to the park on a daily basis, right? So that's roughly 20 people.
I stated my concerns about the small area, but my concern is, another concern is the safety issue here. When you say bikes, even if they take the language out, bikes, how can you stop them?
We gotta go back.
You know,
We wouldn't do that, cause I know when I was a kid, like, coming through Campbell Park, it was a trail leading from, high school, I can say through behind Kirbywood, through the trail, right to Campbell Park. You had some people jumping the fence to get in the pool, just cause.
That's what I was saying. If it's not a supervised park, it's going to be almost impossible to keep people from doing whatever they want. That's just the nature of kids.
And not, for me, being, from Cleveland and, knowing that it's important to have things to do, and you took your time to
Thank you.
piece of work here.
So,
And you're coming for skaters. You talking to some people that are a little older that didn't understand that. I know I didn't. That when you said skate park, that it involved wheels, just all wheels. Bicycles.
yeah.
That takes it, in my mind, takes it to a whole nother level, like another dynamic to me. As far as when you're talking about space, like we want you to have your skate park.
Yeah.
I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? The people, your skate park. Skateboards, maybe some roller skates, some roller blades. I can see that. I would have never thought about bicycles. Now I've seen all these apparatuses and bicycles used on these different apparatuses.
Yeah. And I don't know what the population here in Cleveland would be for the BMX population. I don't know what they are. Because, like you said, I'm a skateboarder. I know what the skateboard population looks like. I don't know what the BMX population looks like.
Do you ever see the BMX bikes out there where y'all are out skating?
No. No, not
But
currently.
you wanted to keep it broad enough to invite them. into
Yeah.
I got you.
So, according to the SAM model, we need approximately 3,000 square feet worth of a park. That is 70% of what a basketball court size is, roughly, and about roughly 9% of the softball field. So we're not talking about a large area, even at that. If you were to contract a third party to come out here and build you a park, they're going to build you something not that big. So I get a little bit into these skate park manufacturers. Ryan Line Skate Parks built this one for Winnetachee, and at 5,000 square feet, it was $56 per square foot. New Line Skate Parks built this one for Houston, and it was roughly $58 per square foot. And then the Dylan Duncan Skate Park, because I know that the board was interested in hearing about prefabricated ramps instead of pour-in-place concrete. It was built in 2004, cost them $124,000 to get the ramps and the slab built. Since then, they resurfaced it every 2 years. They did updates. That little spine that has all the graffiti on it on the bottom picture was added. And so over the course of it being built, the city has spent almost $200,000 on it. So that's $36 per square foot. One of the important things is that SkateWave designed these ramps. SkateWave is no longer in business. Prefabricated ramp companies went out of business right around 2017, 2019. So I could not find in my research any place that made prefabricated metal ramps. Everywhere is wood. And the wooden ramps, where we get into the material, I can go over that. So based on those three examples, you're looking at roughly, just on average, $45 per square foot, putting a 3,000 square foot skate park at roughly $135,000. Now, if we already have a slab of concrete, we don't have to pour concrete, right? So that could save money. I don't know other ways that we could save money other than if we already had a slab poured and then we just bought wood ramps, or we found places selling metal ramps to reduce that cost. Skate parks are built out of four materials primarily. You have the wood material, which is the cheapest up front, wood chips, and you have to resurface it every so often because, or it gets damaged, punch a hole in it, you gotta get a whole new sheet of wood. You got something called skate deck or masonite. Back in the early thousands, people found masonite to be very easy to ride, very cost effective, so they built whole parks out of masonite. But it dry rots in the sun. And so that picture is actually a dry rotted masonite skate park. Everywhere that has a masonite skate park is pretty much gone now. The skate park in Little York has a masonite skate park, but underneath the masonite they laid wood because the masonite was just falling apart in the sun. So they doubled their cost by having to go back and put wood underneath everything. Metal lasts just as long as concrete for the most part. It gets hot, you fall off. You're not just getting road rash at that point, you're also getting burns. And that typically gets refinished every 5 to 10 years. And then concrete is permanent and they resurface it roughly every 10 to 20 years based on use. So that is, I think, all the answers, and you may have more after that, all the answers to the questions that were asked at the last meeting.
Any questions?
Is there currently a concrete slab anywhere, Roger?
No,
So that's not even a consideration, we'd have to definitely, we decided, if council decided they'd have to pour concrete somewhere, if that's what
pretty
they
much, or another small section that we suggested previously, and there's a small area. We would have to find another area and,
You should expand that area.
possibility, and then just put it close to the, we probably could do away with either
You wanna take,
relocate,
you wanna
not
go,
really, but okay.
please? I mean, let's, I just can't.
So, I'm gonna next to the existing one we talked about as far as the designated area for the skate park, there is like a playground area. Maybe we could relocate that area somewhere else, or another area at the park, extend that area out. I give them more room to, so give them more room, but probably won't be 3,000 feet, I don't know about that. But give them more room to do something more than what they already have, so probably look into that and see what it would tell us to process that area as a flat area. How thick does it need to be as far as the concrete wise?
That I don't have an answer to, I would have to,
My understanding is,
again, these are all just
Is it-
recommendations. These
Right,
aren't-
yeah,
Right.
But, you know, we're trying to,
Yeah,
Because we have to take your recommendation and create our own recommendation to
Yep.
then send to council so that they can make the final decision.
yep,
but my understanding was, Mr. Rogers, that we were mainly concentrating to give them the area that's been designated.
yes,
But when I look at this presentation,
yes, it's.
you're suggesting, in so many forms that, or you're giving us suggestions for the future. What I thought we were concentrating on is to get you something started immediately, which would be the area that's been designated by the city.
And then we could advance that area to make it even a more spacious area in the future.
yeah, and,
I mean, we gotta start from
We gotta
somewhere.
start somewhere.
Yeah,
That was my
To get to the
understanding.
main point, you know?
so, the area that's already been designated or, is a good spot. I don't want anyone to walk away from this meeting thinking that it's not enough for what it is right now. It is, and, that whole little driveway strip, skate parks don't have to be squares, you know? That whole little driveway strip that's all already concrete, you can put stuff all along that. If you look at, one of the park examples that I have, it's more of a straight strip. Even the Conroe skate park has Mirski's. It's basically just a straight shot, and it's just some ramps, and then at the end, there's a big bowl, you know? So, it doesn't have to be a rectangle, and the spot that we're currently using goes for quite a ways. I don't know if it's 3,000 square feet, but it's a good stretch of concrete there.
So, Roger, what I'm thinking, and let's look at this, is that regardless of the square footage of what the city is offering them, would be to put as many apparatus in that area as possible. And when you look at these rails, it's talking about a straight rail.
On the side of the concrete,
Yes.
a little sidewalk, and eventually we could make it happen where we could widen the end of it up. But also, I don't wanna, you know, it is a playground for the kids and the swing, so we have to move that from that area in case something do happen. We don't want them to get.
Yeah, and so,
Also, so that's a pretty close area, so, like I said, what we designated was a starting point, and in the future, we could progress it
yeah,
Exactly.
further.
That's the
Well,
thought.
you can also get like benches.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
Not, it looks like a park bench, but it's not like a park bench.
Yes.
It's really a feature that can be utilized as a bench, but it's also a skate feature that they can actually, you can put that next to the sidewalk, it'll be a part of it.
And this looks like it's benches, it looks like it's some metal piping.
Somebody's fine.
But it looks like you have, like you have some metal bars. And then the ramps themselves are poured concrete.
yeah.
I mean, it can be done, just not of time. I mean, like I said, we gotta start from somewhere, and then progress that area.
And even with them starting there, you might find out that it's not gonna work, because you say 5 people or 5 team members or whatever, that, I know that that's not.
Yeah.
the
That's
number.
why it has to be,
Yeah.
Do you
it has
have
to be a big area where,
your walkie on you?
no, I have nothing on
Okay, then I got no idea what it
it.
is.
It has to be, I mean, like I said, the beginning, that's a starting point, and then we could progress later as far as
Exactly.
either we move, because like I said, the playground for the kids on the swing is close by that area. So we could relocate that,
Can you move the
Away.
swings?
and then
Would it be easier to move the swings than move all the skating stuff? Like, which would be easier to?
I think if we move that little part from that area, possible, we have to do some more investigating and check it out.
Why don't we do this? This is just off the wall suggestion. Why don't we do this? The area that has been designated, let's go ahead and use that area.
Correct.
And as that area is being used, I will personally go out myself and ask others to do the same. See how it's being utilized. And then by them being there, you can get a visual about I don't wanna take away what's already there. That belongs to the community, for those kids and people that go there. They're looking for those apparatuses that's already been there.
Right, but I was thinking about relocating from that area
Right.
over to another area at the park.
At the park.
I'm not saying doing no.
No, I understand.
But just relocating, and that would give them more area, surface area to do what they have to do. But I don't want that to be there where if something happened with the skating or whatever, kids are gonna swing.
Yeah.
So I want to relocate that on the other
Agreed.
side, that way it'd be more accessible for them to, keep everybody in their place.
Then what I think as well, I think we need to take your recommendation, because that's your area, and that's your area of expertise, is that you can look at that, and anybody that wanna go with you, can do the same, but I would prefer to take those recommendations from you. This was a safety matter, and
Yeah, because, I mean,
You need to, just like you said, you need to go see it, because that was one of the things that I brought up to the council, it's a very small space, and, all depends on what's going on at the time. Just say, for instance, the splash pad, if it's, open, you got kids running around there, right next to you. So, that's a really major concern of mine, and I brought that to the council.
We put like a I'm not saying a big
No,
chain link,
no,
but like
no,
a small
right.
chain link
So,
to kind of
but-
We mentioned
designate
that
the
as
area.
well.
yeah, we kind of isolate that area from everywhere else, they won't be impeding on each other.
Yeah.
So kind of keep it isolated, but open. So I think that'd be a good.
And you have apparatuses there already?
Yes, there's a little quarter pipe, there's a rail and a ledge and 2 ledges, so.
has anybody been out there yet? I've been out there,
I'll probably seen the use that,
didn't know what it was.
Like, well,
So that we kind of, relocate
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and then the area we could do with grass,
Mhm.
concrete, all the way to make it, I mean, it wouldn't be none to me
Well, you can get a rail company
to do.
to look at what we have, existing concrete that's out there, and say, this whole sidewalk here in this area, it's all this concrete, what can they come up with
But that,
to utilize that surface area and kind of expand that park out, including the sidewalk area up to that area?
Is that, cause the little walk around, the style that people can walk around, is that still in there?
yes,
Yeah,
but in the future, I mean, in the future, we could develop planning where that walkway is throughout the park area, on that side of the basketball court, and wooded area, develop trees, kind of making that a walkway a little better than what it is.
Make it spruce up.
Yeah, make it better, so people do want to walk,
and put
Or
one
job.
just back there.
yes, and the lighting and all that stuff should be taken care of, and all the brush, underbrush, under the trees and so forth, cleaned up, so in the future, it'll be a better place for the kind of gathering or whatever, it might be. But yeah,
Okay, for the sake of time,
but these are, on these, yeah, the rules.
yes, we're gonna, okay, do you have anything else, that you wanna bring before us?
No, sir.
When I go back to school, man, I might have to look you up. Some powerful.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go back, to item 4. Is approval of the minutes for April, meeting. Everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yeah, brief, just briefly, but there's no questions, no discussion, I would like to go ahead and just, approve the minutes for the 2023.
We have a motion to approve the minutes by Ms. Clay,
A second.
second by Ms. McNally. Now, are there any questions at this time? There be no questions, all in favor? Motion is passed. Item 5, on the discussion items, is to discuss and possible action to address the rules for the skate park. Okay, there's a piece of paper.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know on the back of his presentation, he has something from TML or somebody else.
Well, that's, we go with you. We'll finish with that.
No, I was just saying, it's the rules.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah,
It was
Just a touch.
we did that.
right. Okay. TML rules.
Because
There should be a separate paper.
Should be a separate paper we just gave you.
Warehouse.
It should be one of this, let's look at this.
He wants you to look at this.
That's one. Okay.
Under the city park skate rules, first item it says is that the park is to be closed from dusk to dawn during inclement weather. So if you want to, we want to go through each one of these items, discuss it.
No, just read it, if you have any disagreements or whatever, we address that line item. Just, if you see something you don't like, discuss it.
Well, that's,
I think you should, instead of closed, it should be open.
that's what I'm saying, we're gonna go through this one by one.
Go ahead.
Okay? Okay. Any questions, concerns about the hours of operation?
No, but, yes, so how are we gonna make sure that it's closed?
We need hours of park.
Or whatever.
I'm gonna look different. Okay, we have a question from Mr. Williams about the first item.
Yeah, so how will we make sure that it's closed during inclement weather? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I mean, that would be common sense on individual, I understand, so,
I would even, I would even.
so, take out the during inclement weather, and just leave it dust to
Well,
dawn.
no, you need to leave that.
You
in.
gotta
leave it in there, but-
Protection.
It has to be,
That's for protection, I mean, we're
That's
telling
just
them
because
it's
we're
closed.
getting sued if
Right,
someone's
exactly,
using
so-
it inclement weather.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's for.
yeah, we have to follow the,
I think it's stated correctly, because you said park is closed.
But it should be,
Done, and
it should be, it's open, like he said, it should be open from
Open.
dusk to dawn.
All right.
And closed.
Dusk is at night. It's right.
That's right.
Okay, okay, hold on. Let's be real. Let's be real. Now, he mentioned this several times, talking about supervision. How you gonna close the park? It's an open park.
right,
There's no fencing, there's no gate. So let's think about it. So how are you gonna close it?
well, like, right now, I guess people go up there right now and
Exactly.
they
They probably
open it, but when they get nighttime, they leave and go home, right?
But that's why he said open.
If you haven't been and observed, then you will understand what I'm talking about. Those guys play basketball up at the 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Because it's lit, it's
Because
light.
it's lit.
So if it's out the lights, then you go home.
I'm serious.
I mean,
No, this is discussion because of what's said in the very first line.
Right.
That's what we have to concentrate on, because you said dusk to dawn closed. How are you gonna close an open park?
You're just posting that it's closed during those hours.
That's
You're right, some people may not follow the law, just like
Right.
they say the speed limit is 55, and people break the speed limit all
So
the time.
if a police
But-
officer on their patrol sees somebody at the skate park at
That's
9
right.
o'clock at night, they stop and say, you need to go home, the park is closed.
But I think you're correct in saying.
But the safety risk, if you leave it open at night when it's dark, it's a
But I
safety
think that
risk, and
we're
so
just
that
saying
will
that
protect
by
us.
stating this, we're absolving the city from liability if something happens
You
outside
said
of
it's
the
not necessary that it's happened. You
Right.
said,
But if something
I
happens,
said that it was closed, but if they get hurt, they can't sue us because we had a park open at midnight.
because they out there at midnight.
Because that was a conscious choice and rule breaking that they participated in.
Everybody agree with good with that? Next, it say, know your limits and abilities. You're responsible for your safety. Park is not supervised. Unsafe behavior may result in removal from the park.
that gives them the responsibility, not on the city.
Somebody reports it, then they.
Right,
No
exactly.
different than like when the
Yeah,
teenagers are horse playing on the jungle.
Right, if somebody come out later
Right.
saying, well, I got that in the city, and that covers that covers that.
Next, it say the park designed for ages 10 and up. Children under 10 should be accompanied by a parent or guardian. Enforced effort. It's just a rule. We're safety equipment is required at all times.
Hold on a second.
With that age, I mean, I'm just asking you a question because you skate.
Yeah, so, so it's pretty common to say that,
10,
10 and under need to be accompanied by an adult. A lot of times 10 and under don't really, they're not really spatially aware of what they're doing. They get in the way of people a lot of times. So, yeah, and even on the signs, I think that I have in my presentation, it even
Says that,
states the same thing.
Woodlands,
Yeah.
what do you get from the skater though?
I have a question about city rules, and if either Ms. Clay or Scott can ask me. I know at the library, the city's rule is no children under 12 unsupervised. So does it need to be 12 because that's the city's policy already for unaccompanied minors? Or is it different because it's outside?
If you look at the TML, that's what they recommended.
Okay, I just didn't know if the city already had like a set rule for unaccompanied minors or not. Because I knew that we had one from the city for the library. So I was just asking.
Yeah, that's,
Thank
That was
you.
probably library
yeah, library rule
rule.
versus.
Usually different facilities are different ages depending on what the facility is.
Can I go back to the very first one, and because I heard you say, Mr. Carter, which was a good statement, how can you close a park that's an open park? Maybe even though these are skate park rules, maybe we can put designated skating area is closed from dusk to dawn, because the whole park is not being closed.
Okay, designated area, there's more size to that area.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Okay, it's designated.
These would be skate park rules, not the whole park.
Right, exactly, so this pertains to the skate park, not the park itself.
But when you,
But when somebody
but
else
when you
reads
post
it,
this,
yeah,
it's not gonna be accepted that way. Mr.
yeah.
Lawson.
So that's why I say the designated skating area. Even though you have skate park rules up there, keep that there, but let them know that
So
you
you
talked
wanna
about
change-
that
So
designated
you wanna
area.
change park and put designated skate park.
That's my recommendation, if the board has, I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Comments,
To make
Senator?
it really simple.
Comment? Scott, you got something to say? Thank you. Okay. Next item, and you got that necessary?
Yes, designated skate park.
Yes, sir. It says proper safety equipment is required at all times, including helmets, proper shoes, knee and elbow pads, and wrist guards. Any comment on this?
I just, it's gonna be hard to make it a requirement. Cause I'm with you, I mean, you tell me, I gotta have my knee braces on to go play basketball, my knee pads, I'm probably not gonna have my knee pads on to go play basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it's,
All this is releasing
So
liability in the city.
so the wording gotta be changed.
But is it really
It's like a
pushing us from
motorcycle
liability?
rider. They don't all wear helmets, even though, you know, that. most-
Proper, okay, it does, proper safety equipment
Yeah,
is
yeah.
required.
It's required, but
Yeah.
it's up to your discretion to put it on. But we have to release all liability on
Is
the
required.
individual, not the city.
When it,
This could be a picky point, but is it releasing us from liability? Because the argument would be made that if you said it was required, but then there's no one enforcing the rule, would it not be better to say recommended? Because we're releasing ourselves from having to even observe it?
TML says you need to have it
Yeah,
required.
see, all our stuff is
It's
posted.
posted.
Yeah,
It's posted,
It's posted in here, so.
which is the notice.
You locate it.
You have to have that,
It just seems weird,
required.
like these are required rules, but there's no one there to enforce required rules.
right,
It's
but
self-governed.
that makes sense, but when TML is involved, that is our,
It's okay.
that is our guide, which is TML.
Yeah, this is our guy, they cover all the insurance, so
yes.
we have to follow their procedures, their guidelines.
Okay?
I know it's a bit,
No, you're right.
Thank you, Mr. Roger.
Next one says, only skaters will be allowed in skating area. All others must watch from behind the fence. Option. Any comment on that? Anybody? That's not-
We don't have one yet. We talked about it.
But again, this is TML recommendation.
That's why he should
I
not.
was just asking if there was.
yeah, Yeah, just delete that last.
Completely?
It says all others must watch from behind the fence, just put a line through that. And just leave, only skaters will be allowed in the skating area.
In the skating area.
Now, one of the things that TML does, they kind of use the word instead of require, they use should wear, or should.
That's getting a little more
So I mean,
matter of fact.
I mean, you can, it's required, or you can use shall,
Yeah.
should wear, should,
Should,
you know.
Yeah, TML
If
says.
you're more comfortable with, I mean, but
should.
still,
It says,
Should, right. Should be worn at all times.
if that's what you all wanna, should be worn.
I mean, if we're saying that we need to go exactly off what TML, then why not just copy and paste exactly what TML said?
Skaters should have,
And TML said should.
all skaters should wear a minimum.
Should be worn at all times.
All skaters should wear a minimum safety equipment.
You pull over, take it off, and go back.
I would be one person that skating
Okay, are we good on that one?
If the proper safety equipment should be worn at all times.
We was too many conversations. Go ahead.
I'm okay with what it says, because normally when we do something like this, the attorney normally gonna review it and look at it, even though you might, if you have questions about it. So you can make your notes, if they have questions about that, they say it's okay, then leave it like this.
Gotcha.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Okay, so we good on all skaters then, right? No bicycles allowed in skating area. Motorized vehicles prohibited. One skate on a ramp or rail at a time. Is that good?
Yeah.
One skater per skateboard. Skating allowed in authorized areas only. No personal ramp or rails are allowed. Do not ride on damaged surface or when wet, raining, or during electrical storms or maintenance.
can we go back to the other one thing, just a quick question, because the ramps that are out there now features our personal, right? They're your groups.
Yeah, they were donated. I mean, no one's staking claim to any of the stuff, so, I mean,
So, okay.
Yeah, it's true.
I was saying, until we actually have our own,
yeah,
That
and
we
until
put out
the city
there.
provides stuff, I mean, that's all we have is our own stuff.
so for right now, that may be something we add in the future when we actually get official engineered ramps and all that out there, but for right now, when they're just, because that's all been donated, it's,
Am I allowed to do it?
No, but, so on that one, it is liability if something happens.
but it's not our.
It's not our schedule, so
we need
So
to
you
take that
want
one
to
out?
take that one out until further, the future?
I'm bringing the question up.
Y'all see what he's saying?
Which one?
It says no personal ramps or rails are allowed. You want
But all that's been provided.
I don't know where the ramps and stuff that are out there now, where they came from.
yeah, so it would be best to, we'll put that back, once the city gets their own ramp, that, then we put that back in that same, hey, or we could say this, but if we do it now, if we take it off, then we have to revise this.
You can always revise.
You can
So
always-
if everybody
So-
say take this one out.
Or maybe until further
So
notice.
the other option would be that we figure out who provided the stuff out there, have them officially give it to the city, but then the city has to accept it, but then we've got to take on that,
we have
there's
to make
additional
sure-
liability.
Right, we have to make sure that it meets the
Right.
requirements, testing and whatever.
Those ledges don't meet requirements.
Okay.
So we don't want to do that.
We don't want to, no.
Okay, so
So until further notice.
we're gonna strike that one out.
Yeah, I put a amendment to further notice.
Okay.
Without-
No alcohol, tobacco products, or illegal substances allowed. No graffiti, stickers, tagging along. Vandalism will close the park. What is it? Oh, okay, tag, that's better.
Yeah, that's just,
Yeah.
claiming they charges on
Okay, dispose of all trash, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, right?
Dispose of all trash properly. No food or drink allowed in skating area. And all other park rules and ordinances apply.
That's a start.
What you think about that?
I think it's good.
Okay, okay, I just wanna get your opinion since you're the,
Yeah, I mean, it coincides with most signage I see at skate parks. I will say, to the point about this area is closed from dusk till dawn, the skating area, a lot of skate parks that are a part of other public, a lot of skate parks that are a part of public parks, a lot of times they have the public park rules at the entrance, and then once you get to the skate park area, there's another signage for that specific area, so.
yeah.
And that's where these would be, because it needs to be within the vicinity of the.
Oh, the skate park, the skating area.
That's an area.
Okay, have fun, be safe, and respect your fellow skaters. And it quotes to chapter 75, so. All right, this is an action item. So, it's been discussed and recommended that once these are accepted and approved by this board, then we will give it to the council, and I'm sure our city manager will run it by the city attorney to make sure that everything is consistent and applies to TML and whatever else we need to do. So at this time, we'll entertain a motion to accept.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we accept these skate park rules with the changes that we indicated tonight and with the, changes, and then we did say something about until further notice on
Yeah,
that one.
yes, correct.
But to go ahead and make a motion to accept these rules as we have discussed.
There's a motion on the floor to accept the rules with the necessary corrections at this time. We have a motion by Ms. Clay,
I'll second.
and a second by Ms. Manley. Are there any questions?
No, no questions, sorry.
Oh, I thought you.
I'm getting ready to say yes.
Okay, all in favor? Motion passed. Okay, item 7, this is discuss possible action on potential park ideas and or projects.
That's only there if you want to
Right.
discuss any other park project.
Does anyone have any other park ideas, suggestions that you'd like to bring before the board at this time?
Was there been any headway on Ms. Clay's suggestion about the walking trails? This last meeting, Ms. Clay was saying that she wanted someone to look at the walking trails and see if they could be cleared out.
Yeah, he
I
mentioned.
mentioned that earlier. Okay,
I'm
so,
sorry.
That's what.
so we have a zipper canyon, which is the asphalt zipper.
Mhm.
Now we're waiting for the roller to come in. Once that come in, then we're gonna proceed with the clearing or improving of the walkway, the trail around the park area, hopefully the next couple months.
Which park in particular?
Well, we're working on our camel park
Camel.
right now, and then, I'm getting a price to do, Santa Water Park also, and then we get a price to do, all the parks,
That's
all
great.
the parks.
That's great.
That way it's a little, it should be 4 foot in width,
Right.
but it's gonna be about probably 2 or 3 inches thick, so it'd be good foundation and everything.
Very good.
And that's also my idea because people are walking at this time. Right now, they are.
Yeah. So, and then, in those areas, hopefully put more lighting, so it'd be more
Yes.
visible. I don't want them to happen, so it'd be more visible and this way.
And also add some benches in the back.
Yes, correct, yes. Oh, some table benches and,
Yeah.
yes,
Or
Any other suggestions, discussion on parks, ideas or projects?
Did we go anywhere with the questionnaire to be sent out to the public about what they would like to see in our parks?
Mr. City Manager,
What's that?
the questionnaire that we talked about, sending out to the community for suggestions on where and what they want.
No, we have not done a survey yet.
That's understandable. Anyone else? There being no other business to come before this board tonight, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Have a second. That was quick. Have a second. Thank you, 7.